Well, hello everyone and welcome to Head Teacher Chat. I'm Lucy. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're talking about something that affects every child, every family and every school day, and that is school food and food education. And today we're going to be talking specifically about Jamie Oliver's Good Food Awards, celebrating brilliant people, chefs, catering teams, teachers, leaders, pupils and communities for all making school food absolutely brilliant, often in really challenging situations. And just for a bit of context, Jamie Oliver has been campaigning on school food since 2005, starting with the Jamie Oliver School Dinners campaign and the Feed Me Better campaign. And what we're going to be covering today is why this is important, what it's actually like to enter the competition, and how you can get your school entered for a chance to win. So the purpose of today is simple: to help as many of you feel confident about entering and to get your nominations in. Welcome to the Head Teacher Chat podcast, and thank you so much for joining us. And I'm delighted to say I am joined by three brilliant guests. We have Naomi, Natalie, and Sarah. Welcome, everyone.
Good morning.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about where you're from? So, Sarah, should we go for you first?
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Lucy. So my name is Sarah Rappaport and I lead campaigns, social impact campaigns, including school food at the Jamie Oliver Group.
Brilliant. And Naomi?
Hi, I'm Naomi Parkinson. I'm head teacher at Ingle Community Primary School, and we were lucky enough to win one of the Jamie Oliver Good School Food Awards in 2024.
Amazing. And Natalie?
Hello, I'm Natalie Hackett. I'm the head teacher of New Loverstock Primary School and now Hollycroft Primary School. Back in 2024, I was also a winner for the Leaders Award, which was an amazing surprise.
Oh, how exciting, and congratulations to both of you. You obviously deserve it very much. And today we're going to start with you, Sarah, if that's all right. For anyone who's listening who hasn't heard of the awards yet, what are they? What are the Good School Foods Awards, and what are you hoping they're going to help change in schools and communities?
Yeah, so the Jamie Oliver Good School Food Awards is in its fourth year, and it is our annual celebration of amazing things that are happening in school around food and food education. So as Naomi and Natalie said, there's different categories. So we're looking at educators, we're looking at leaders, we're looking at chefs, people who are doing brilliant things that we can celebrate and shine a light on. One, to celebrate these amazing people going above and beyond, and also for people who are looking, what more can I do in my school around food education and food to be these gorgeous inspirational stories that we can all look at and aspire together to emulate in our own ways in our own schools. So as I said, they're in their fourth year. We've just opened for nomination, so please do nominate. And Naomi and Natalie can tell you what it's like to win an award, but for us, as I said, it's about shining a light and giving much needed love and admiration to people doing brilliant things every day.
Amazing. What a fabulous idea. And Sarah, I feel I know the answer to this question, but can you tell us, why is it important now more than ever to have a big focus on school nutrition?
I mean, for us, and has been the case for Jamie since he started school dinners, good food underpins everything at school. Your well-being, your ability to learn, a child's ability to be healthy. The evidence is so clear how a good meal underpins that. And that is even more so when a child may not, for lots of complicated reasons, be having as brilliant a meal at home. That lunch becomes even more important. We know sort of from a wider perspective that the government are really interested in school food. They get it, they know how important it is, and they're thinking, how do we make that even better? How can we play our role and support it? And also that flows into breakfast as well. So government are now also saying that every child should have a free breakfast at school. Wonderful, let's make that amazing so it really underpins a child's learning for the whole day.
Amazing. And it's all thanks to Jamie that we've come this far, really. I mean, Jamie's done wonders so far in terms of improving the quality. Naomi, can you tell us a little bit about Ingle Primary? What made food such a priority for you guys?
food isn't always seen as something that schools are measured on, and I think it, like Sarah was saying, it just is such an integral part of how a child learns, because our school, we're up in Lancashire, and we have over 50% of our children on free school meals, receiving pupil premium. And we were sort of not too happy with the provision that we were getting from our current catering system up here. So I decided to take it in-house, and then through that I spent a lot of time looking at the school food standards, what that meant, how can we design menus that the children are engaged with, that the children want to eat, and what would that look like transferred onto a plate every day for that huge variety that the children need to be able to learn and feel satisfied and all of that stuff. So it was a case of us sort of making sure we were providing the very best meal that we could, because this might be the only hot meal our children get. And we also were very aware of context at home. So it could be ready meals, it could be takeaways, or so it's all part of that education around the children's choices as well. So like completely involving them in the menu, the compilations of the menus, their ideas. One good example was quite a lot of our children's favourite food were pot noodles. So we put a twist on, we had our own version of a pot noodle that was much healthier and much more nutritious, but they didn't seem to see that because it did look a little bit like a pot noodle in a bowl, just without the plastic pot. So I think for our children and for our families, that whole journey of looking into food and what that means has been really important, and it's evolved as well over time. It's evolved into how we now deliver our food and nutrition curriculum, because in the national curriculum itself, it's sort of dipped into through DT, science, PSHE, but we've sort of evolved our curriculum now, so it is a food and nutrition based progressive curriculum. So children are not just learning about nutrition, but they're learning the fundamental skills of how to prepare things, how to wash vegetables, how to chop them, how to cook them. So I know then our children will be able to transfer these skills back into the home, to be able to look at creating foods for themselves safely, and in some cases teaching their parents how to do that.
That's brilliant. That's fabulous, and that's exactly what you want them to be: independent, being healthy eaters, don't you? And Natalie, you've got a really great setup there. Your school's great for cooking, growing, sustainability. You've got all of it embedded in your culture too. Tell us a little bit about your school.
Yeah, so we opened in 2019 in a brand new town, new development. So a new school entering with only 47 children, so very small, with lots of land around us. And one of the designers really wanted us to have a school garden and a growing kitchen. And as we know, after 2019, when we just opened, then COVID also came in. So we didn't have many children at all to start with. And we had this wonderful land, and it was very much, what can we do? We want to plant a seed to prove that we may be taking land away, we may be taking habitats away, but actually we've been given the land to create all of that and to teach our children about sustainability, about health and education, and growing our own food. So we started off quite small, and the community all got involved. And I think that's what it's been like from the start. We planted the seed and everybody's joined us. We're very proud of what we've got to now. We've got bees. We've got every year we have a rolling program with our year 5 and 6 children that understand everything now about what we need to plant to make the right honey, and the detail that goes into that in our curriculum is all there now, and really deep understanding that takes the children into Key Stage 3 with ease on that first-hand experiences. We did the same with having our own chicks, and then we kept the chickens and we keep the eggs, and we use all of these products now in our own cooking. morning, and the children have their own little jar to take home when they're in year 6 of honey, and the eggs can be shared out amongst the staff and obviously within the cooking. So it started to evolve from there, where we just planted a seed to see what would happen next. But now we've got a full community that everybody wants to be part of and visits. And now I know that local schools and areas are also having bees now, and we're starting to really show what we can do when you just, a few of you just want something to work. Integrating it, just like Naomi said, into the curriculum is key. Children really want to be part of a journey, and I feel like opening the new school gave us that chance to springboard a journey.
That is incredible. You two are very inspirational. I can see why you won the competition. But can you tell me, perhaps we'll go back to you, Naomi. I love the pot noodle concept for a start, you know. But can you tell me what happens when we don't get it right, when children don't eat well? How does that affect the school day?
Well, it basically, they're not the right conditions for learning, are they? If the children they haven't rested properly, they're not feeling safe, they're hungry, you just haven't got the right conditions for that learning to take place. So we ensure every single child coming through our door has breakfast every day, regardless if they've already had it at home. There's that offer there, because we can only control what is given when they're here, and we can't control anything outside of that. So we want to ensure that whilst they are in our care, that they are given every opportunity to thrive and to succeed, because they deserve to.
And what about you, Natalie? How does it affect children in your school if
Yeah,
they don't, for example, they don't eat breakfast and things?
Yeah, so it's important that they all have a breakfast. We have a thriving breakfast club, and then breakfast is available for all. Children also go and visit, so they can go and visit the garden and have any fruits that we're growing, obviously seasonal, but we do try and plant throughout all seasons. So there are opportunities for the children to feel proud of those tomatoes that they've been involved in right from the start as well. So we really have shown that culture of showing off our garden, and parents do come and visit it as well, so that they can take produce. And the big plan is that we'll be selling it on the market stall, but we're still working to get enough produce, but collectively with the community we seem to be developing that. We're just getting some more allotments as well, which hopefully will join together to get a bit more available for a whole community, which is growing in a new town. So that's important.
That's amazing. And what I'm hearing from both of you is how important the community is. You know, from your perspective, Naomi, you're going from school out to the community, and from Natalie's perspective, the community are helping to build the school's food curriculum, which is really, really fantastic from both aspects. You know, and the community is really, really important. And that's the thing about school food. It's not just about food. It's about everything. It's about learning. It's about well-being. It's about concentration. It's about your relationships with your friends and your family members when you get home. It's absolutely crucial. So Sarah, this competition is fabulous. Thank you so much to the Jamie Oliver Group for coming up with the idea. It's really, really fantastic.
No, I mean, we're very happy to have the privilege of celebrating all these fabulous things. But if I could just pick up something that you just said, Lucy, about community, and invariably across all of this is now in our 4th year of running the competition, and across all the different categories, we do almost always, I'm going to say always actually, see that when school lunch is fabulous and brilliant and this wonderful experience and delicious on the plate, almost always you see food education is embedded, and people are thinking about growing in all of those interconnected ways, and it gets called like a whole school approach, but it absolutely is true that when it's happening beautifully, because it's all interconnected, because fundamentally food is interconnected across everything. You can't learn if you're hungry. And so we definitely see that both in terms of how food spreads across the whole school and the different ways it shows up, and also how it spreads beyond the school gates and into the community. And very often when nominations come through, and we have the great privilege of sitting and reading, we'll often get multiple nominations for the same school or individual leader, and you can see you'll get one from parents and you'll get some from other members of the community in different setups, and it's all you can see by that the example of all the ways in which this person in school and the food that they're supporting is hitting out. So yeah, no, absolutely. Community, parents, whole school involvement, it's always the ingredients we see.
That's amazing. That's so lovely to hear. And just thinking about my own experience, I remember bringing breakfast into school every day for a lot of my children in my class when I was teaching, and also when I was a leader. You know, this is before the breakfast clubs started. You know, there were lots of children who didn't have breakfast, and I used to feel that I want them to be happy and safe and comfortable in school. So I'd often feed them myself, obviously with parents' permission to do so. But it's such an important thing. But then again, on the flip side of that, I was lucky enough to be later on in life in a school where the community raised money to build a little kitchen so that children could actually cook themselves, obviously with supervision. But it was an early years kitchen. So we had a tiny oven, a tiny little hob, a very small fridge, and a little sink for them to wash their hands. And it was all just a little bit off the floor. And that was because our community had come together and raised the funds to support that. So school is a massive part of the community, and it's lovely to see it all working well. And it's so nice to hear that so many nominations come together from one school. That's the magic of when education does it well. It's wonderful to get the community engaged like that. So, Sarah, if we're going to enter, it's quite a big thing. You know, when you're thinking about it, you think, oh gosh, is it a big thing? Is it easy to enter? What does it actually involve? How do we get started?
So to get started, so it's a two-stage process. And to get started is a very quick nomination form, 5 minutes. Who are you nominating? Why you're nominating them, and why they should win the award. Really, as top line as we can do. And then if a school, and sometimes that is to your point, because lots of nominations are coalescing and you think, oh, there's really something very interesting, we'll come back with more questions if we have any. So if the first nomination form didn't cover something that's really important, we'll come back and ask those questions to make sure that we really have that full picture. And the way, just to give a bit more context about how it all comes together, is we have an expert panel of judges, of which our previous winners get to be judges on as well, that will come together and have a look through those nominations. Again, opportunity for more questions if there is, and they will come up with the final shortlist in each of the categories. And then our celebrity judges will also come and have a look and see which of the nominations they're really excited by. All of that, if mostly it is the case that the nominations are not the individual themselves, although they can be. And so that gives us an opportunity then, when someone is a winner, that the whole thing has happened without their knowledge, and it's this wonderful surprise. And Naomi and Natalie can share the different surprises they had, but we really try to make that a wonderful celebratory moment as well. So please, if people are thinking about nominating, it's so easy. It's 5 minutes. Put someone's name down. Tell us why they're brilliant. And if there's anything else we need, we'll ask you about it. So please do get involved.
Amazing. And Naomi, tell us your experience of the competition. What happened to your school?
I got invited under false pretenses to go and speak on Heart Radio about a different project that we'd done the year before. And so sat round in the studio with Jamie Theakston and Davina McCall, and then all of a sudden Jamie Oliver walks in, and I'm not very good at hiding. If my mouth doesn't say it, my face will. And I was just, oh my word. And obviously, because I think as being nominated was a shock, because what we do here is what we do, and it was embedded, and I didn't see that as being any different to what anybody else would be doing. But through sort of all then the further opportunities that have happened since winning the award, it does seem that actually we are rolling with something that other people are now aspiring to want to do as well. So that's great that all of this can be shared, and that it's inspirational to other schools to be able to take that same route and to provide what we just presumed was what we just do.
That's incredible. What a lovely surprise. What about you, Natalie? What was your experience?
Yes, the children were all hiding in the garden and invited me out, wondered why, what was going on. And then they all jumped and the award came flashing in my face, and there was videoed, and yeah, just a big surprise. I didn't expect anything. The chickens were running around. It was just one of those moments. I think everyone celebrated. Our children are so excited to have kept the secret for so long, and I didn't realize how long they were having to keep it as well. So that was all a big shock. And then we got recorded into making some food as well, and the children got all involved in cooking. So yeah, it was just great. I was interviewed, and it's been a springboard ever since, really. Ended up meeting Heston Blumenthal at the Abergavenny Food Festival, and just lots of different things have happened since. But the big shock was in the garden with you know, video and TV, and never really expected it, if I'm really honest.
Well, it's obviously well deserved, and congratulations to both of you. I mean, these things aren't easy to achieve, really. You have to have the right vision and the right ethos in your school and the right culture. So congratulations to both of you. That's an amazing achievement, and it's lovely to hear you were surprised. I think that's a really nice thing. But, you know, school leadership is tough a lot of the time, and especially at the moment, there's lots of new things coming through, lots of things to consider. It's hard to make it a priority. If you had one wish that you could give to a head teacher or a school leader who is listening to this thinking, gosh, how am I going to fit all of that in? I want to make it a priority, but I don't know how to. How can we do that, Naomi? What could we focus on, or Natalie? Any ideas?
It's probably not as huge of a job as you think. I just think just sit back, have a look what's already going well, what can you tweak a little step at a time, because it's not an overnight fix. But by just making those small changes to, I don't know, your menu offer or your curriculum offer, that then can snowball into something much greater than what you would ever even think about that you were planning on paper.
That's a brilliant idea.
From my point of view, you're never alone. It's about taking all the stakeholders, the parents, the children, the governors, and obviously all your staff, and just saying what's our strengths and what do we want to grow further. And it's amazing where that team effort, everybody wants to be involved, that'll get the community working together, and people feel proud of what they can achieve. I think that's where we started back in 2019.
I wonder if I might add a thought, and I'm not a head teacher, so you can all correct me, but I actually wonder whether food underpins a lot of the priorities that teachers that feel might be more of a priority. So, for example, you know, when a school lunch is brilliant, attendance goes up. When a school lunch is brilliant, actually the academic work goes up. A child's well-being goes up. One of the award winners from the year before last, they've got a waiting list at their school now, and actually they used to be undersubscribed, but once lunch improved, that was a massive driver. So I wonder whether, not to challenge your question, Lucy, but whether sort of actually understanding where brilliant food underpins a lot of the things that feel might be a priority actually is a good way to start to think about how this comes together much more holistically than, you know, right now I'm really pushing to get more better attendance. Well, actually food is potentially a route you haven't looked at for how you meet that priority, and the evidence both in terms of what a brilliant lunch does and how that underpins, but also Naomi and some of the other award winners, what that focus and shining a light on that lunch does. And one of the ways is through a Good School Food Award, but not just that, how that underpins a lot of your priorities.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's a perfect point, actually, Sarah. And we talk an awful lot about the feeling of belonging. Do I belong here? And food is a really powerful way of helping children and staff, actually, feel like they belong. They have a place here. You know, who doesn't want to go to school that has a great lunch? You know, your attendance figures are going to improve if you're making them feel like they belong there. It's almost got to feel like a home. You know, do they feel safe there? Are they respected? Are they well nourished when they get there? You know, are they feel comfortable?
And food and the communal eating about food is one of the most important ways that we have of connecting and interaction. I mean, it's why we see the impact on behavior. Yes, partly that is absolutely eating nutritious food helps how you feel and your behavior and your attention, but also sitting and eating together and interacting is a really important skill that we all learn and practice, and the impact that has on how we feel and how we connect is really important as well. And as I said, you see it in the data. So waiting lists go up. What parent doesn't want to send their child to a school where they know they're going to have a nutritious meal, and also that they're going to, to Naomi's point about how that feeds back into parents, do I want to send my child to a school where they're having an opportunity to eat broccoli? Maybe at home I'm struggling as a parent with some of that. And actually that's a really safe space. We often hear a lot of parents sort of, oh my gosh, I don't think my child would eat that, but they do at school, because school is a very special place. And that communal sitting and eating together, particularly if the teachers are as well, is enormously positive. And as I say, you see that in waiting lists. It's interesting on that, and then I'm going to be quiet because this is a chat, not a monologue for me. But we also see the numbers of children having lunch and taking and not bringing in a packed lunch goes up hugely when there is a focus on food, which sometimes runs contrary when I think people haven't seen it. And that's why the awards are so amazing. It's shown when you haven't seen it in action, people think, oh, but then kids might not have the lunch at school if, we're too revolutionary on it. And it's just not the case, actually. So all of our Good School Food Awards see that the number of children taking up the lunch rather than bringing in a packed lunch, that goes up and up and up and up. One of our schools was at about 20%, and they're at 98% now. Because actually knowing your child has a good meal is a priority for parents, and the children want to be part of that positive experience as well.
It's dispelling those myths as well, isn't it, about school lunches from the past, because parents may not always have had a very positive experience themselves of what school lunches are and what that looks like. So I do think that, like, we obviously, when we have any events, our catering staff will put on samples and tasters, and whenever we change the menu, the children come up with the ideas, we cook them up, and then there's taster sessions all the way. So they're having that voice. It's like when a child actually having a say in what they're going to have for dinner, but they're having that say at lunch as well at school. So it becomes part of them, and it feels like they've made that difference, and they've got some sort of autonomy over the actual results and what is being offered.
I feel like the cooking feeds in a little bit. So, when my children are being, this from a parent perspective rather than a teacher, they're not, I'm going to give them something different for dinner. I always get them to help me cook it, because actually it's part of that.
Likely to eat it.
Exactly. And you're part of an experience, and you weren't sure about the vegetable, but you chose to put it in, and, it all comes together. And so in both of your schools, where you have both the amazing lunch and the sort of food education and the growing, it's just beautiful to see.
It does. And we've also looked at we weigh our waste now, so the children can see which days that they've got the most waste. And I think that's interesting to have that impact that, wow, we've all chosen this meal and we've all decided not to eat it all, and then we start questioning why. Then we look back on the menu and question the menu as well. So lots of things go into that to really help educate the children.
That's incredible. That's so fabulous. And you're absolutely right, Sarah. Really valid points from everyone, really. From a parent's perspective, it's lovely to hear that your child is going to get a good, proper, nutritious meal. Parents are under a lot of pressure nowadays. That pressure isn't easing. To know that they can drop their child off knowing that they're going to be fed well, and it's nutritious, and there's been some thought behind what they're eating and why they're eating it. As you said, Natalie, we're only going to eat food that we like, and we're not going to waste too much. It's such an important thing to be a part of. I think it's fabulous. I think you're all very inspirational. So Sarah, how do we get involved in the competition? What do we need to do to enter? I know you talked about what we need to put in the nomination, but how do we actually enter?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is through that nomination, but I think it's in listening to sort of Naomi and Natalie gives a sort of idea of what might be really important to put in your nomination. It's brilliant when we hear about sort of community and parents and teachers, and particularly the children. And you may think that you're just doing, as Naomi said, we're just making sure kids have a great lunch. But when you zoom out a little bit and see how those elements come together in the community, and what extra, actually there might be quite a lot of extra special things that you're doing, going above and beyond. And it's our job at Jamie Oliver's to celebrate that and share it, so that we can all be inspired by it. So please do, as I said, it's in the first instance, it is a 5-minute form. Nominate yourself, nominate your colleague, nominate a fellow head teacher you know who's doing a brilliant job. We can't wait to hear from you.
Oh, it sounds fabulous. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And we'd love to hear more, Sarah. So please do keep us up to date. We'd love to be a part of the competition as much as we can. It sounds such a fabulous thing to be a part of. And we're very encouraged to hear of all the good work that you're doing. Everybody's really working hard to make sure children are happy, healthy and safe at school. So thank you so much for everyone. And if you would like to take part in the competition, you can head over to www.jamieoliver.com/school food awards. We'll put the link on the screen. Nominate your school. Think about your catering team, your school chef, maybe your leadership team, your community project, whatever it is, who's making a brilliant impact on your school. Nominate them. Let's see if we can shine a light on the superb work that everybody's doing in schools today. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time on Head Teacher Chat.
The future of school leadership. Come and join us.
Leadership can be a very, very lonely journey, and this is why it's so important to be in the right space with the right people in order for you to have the right information to make the life of leadership a lot easier. This is why this platform is the way forward, because you're able to get the real-time solution you need for your specific issues.
Keeping up with the latest from the Department of Education and Ofsted can feel like a full-time job in itself. That's why we distill the noise and bring you clear, relevant updates without the jargon.
This role that you are in, it asks for you to make wise decisions. You can't make wise decisions when you're busy, and you're back to back the whole time. It's impossible.
The Head Teacher Chat have been able to work with many people over the many years, and I know this is the space that's going to give you what you need to take your leadership game to another level.
Anyone else feeling completely burnt out? I can't switch off. I'm neglecting my health. I'm on anxiety medications, can't go on. Is it normal for head teachers to feel like this? And so we put that question into Ask Charlie to see what strategies he would come up with. And as you can see, he's come up with some great ideas. And sometimes all you need is a little bit of help and support and guidance to signpost you in the right direction. But there are head teachers who are hitting breaking point. And it goes back to, put your own oxygen mask on first. Look after yourself. You are very important. You are respected. Our community will look after you.
It's been good to have a private space where you can go and ask questions with like-minded people.
If I don't care for myself, then I'm given from an empty... No, I know we use that phrase a lot, but I'm given from an empty cup, and I can't. So again, I do think it's a mindset thing. I think people get stuck into that way of giving all the time, and realizing that the first person you must give to, and it's not selfish, is yourself. It has to be. It really has to be.
What has love got to do with leadership? Well, love is compassion. Love is creativity. Love is thinking about what the other person needs and being able to bring up a solution. And that's exactly what Jonathan and Lucy have been doing. I've been watching them for a long while now. I started following them on Twitter, and I realized that they do have love for leadership, they have love for education, and they have love for who you are as an individual. Education is a very, very tough gig, and the fact that you are in this space supporting leaders is amazing. So thank you very much for loving and amazing support the community.
Sign up today by scanning our QR code below.